Hi everyone, my name is Hector Figueroa. I'm a NetSuite functional consultant in Hood River Consulting and a NetSuite Alliance partner. In this occasion, I'm going to talk about a little about advanced procurement. That is one of the models inside of NetSuite. This model manages complex vendor relationships and helps you to create your purchase orders in a more ordered way. This model, advanced procurement, has four main transactions or features: the blanket purchase order, the requisition, the request for quote, and the purchase contract. All of them trying to affect the purchase order in one way or another. This is the route in which we can click to find this transaction. You go to transactions, we go to purchases, and you're going to find the request for quote, the order requisition, the request for quote, and the contract. The blanket purchase order, what it does, it helps you to automate placing regular orders. In this case, we can create one blanket purchase order with an X amount of one specific item, and then separate this amount into several dates in which we can create several purchase orders. For example, in this blanket purchase order, we can see that we have a pencil and 6 units of pencils for $100 each. However, I'm going to buy 2 of these pencils on the 27, 2 of them on the 28, and the left 2 on the 29. Meaning that I'm going to create from this one blanket purchase order, I'm going to create 3 real purchase orders. I can create them either manually, or I can create a schedule and leave the schedule so it can be created automatically. So we don't have to do necessarily anything. These blanket purchase orders can have their terms and have special instructions. Their terms, as we know, is the amount of days in which we want to pay a purchase order or a bill. Meaning that, for example, in this case, if I select Net 15, it's going to create the first purchase order from 15 days from the date of creation, the second purchase order from the date of that purchase order, and the third one from the date of that purchase order. So each of the due dates is going to be different from one purchase order to another, independently that they have been created from one blanket purchase order. Also, we can add special instructions for the packing list, the billing instructions, the labeling instructions, or the order instructions, so we can create purchase orders that are more detailed. The requisitions is a special transaction that is going to allow the employees to request or ask for an item to the purchase team. Meaning that, for example, if I, Hector Figueroa, want to or needs for my department pencils, I'm going to be able to create a requisition to my purchase team, so they can know that in my department we are in the need of pencils. For this, there's a specific role called employee center role that allows the employees to get into and only ask for or to create requisition. This requisition, as we can see, is for pencils, and I am selecting one vendor called Hector Figueroa vendor. That is my name. So this is for more or less a recommendation of the employee saying that this is a good vendor for this specific product. And at the right, we can also appreciate that there is an estimated rate and amount, meaning that even though we are not part of the purchase process per se, we can give recommendations to our purchase team or our purchase manager to know what vendor is good for this item and what is the estimated price that I should or I think it should charge. Also, these requisitions are not in the relationship of one requisition equals one purchase order, meaning that if several employees have created several requisitions, we can go to this part of order requisition, or this is a tweetlet that NetSuite gives us in order to create purchase order from several requisitions, meaning that if I have, for example, 5 requisitions and I want to create one only purchase order, I can select the same vendor for each of the 5 requisitions, and Netu is going to create only one purchase order. In this Sweetlet, we can also add the item, the vendor that we're selecting, the currency in which we are purchasing, the rate, and many more information that we want to add. The request for quote is a transaction that helps us unify the bidding process, meaning that it unifies the items that we want to purchase, the bidding that the vendors do, the number of vendors that we are trying to get a bid from, and the award process, meaning that we the selection of the perfect vendor. So in this, we are going to be able also to allow special instructions that the vendor can get in order to be more informed, in order to give us the right prices. In this part, we can also send an email to our vendors, greeting them and giving some information regarding the terms, the special instructions, whether we are specifically trying to buy, and any other information that we would like to add. In this list, we're going to select all the vendors that we would like to, or we want them to be bidding for this quote. And from the start of the bidding to the end of the request for quote, we're going to be receiving the answer on the prices and the discount per unit that each vendor can give us in the following way. In this way, for example, in this purchase contract, that is the transaction that is created after the request for quote has been done, we are going to select one of my vendors. These vendors create a purchase contract, meaning that we're going to have complex prices and discounts per amount, meaning that, for example, if the regular price for this pencil is 11 for this specific vendor, if the vendor wanted to win the bid, he would send the better prices, meaning that, for example, from 0 to 10, it's going to charge me only $10. From 10 to 20, 9, and 20 and more, $8. Meaning that we have special prices and they are selected under purchase contract that has been created from the request for quote. So in this sense, my request for quote is going to be related with my purchase contract in order to give me the discounts. Also is going to be having information of the dates in which this contract is running and the minimum and maximum amounts from this contract. Meaning, and this is a good example, we have the start date from the 17th of April to the 14th of May, meaning that between this date, this purchase contract is going to be able to be applied to any purchase order that I create. What does this mean? If we go back a little and we go back to the requisitions, we're going to find that in my Sweetlet, I'm going to have a purchase contract field down to the right, meaning that the purchase orders that are between the 17th of April and between the 14th of May are going to be able to be applied this purchase contract and these special prices. Also, the minimum and maximum amount gives a specific amount in which we can buy pencils in order to receive these prices. So if I, for example, buy pencils for less than $8, I'm not going to be able to get this purchase contract or these specific prices. If I go beyond $100, meaning 101 per pencil, I'm not going to be able to apply this purchase contract. This obviously can be omitted, but most of the contracts do have this information. Thank you very much for hearing. This has been all for today. Finally, we would like to invite you to visit our website. In our website, you will find some information regarding our company. We will give you solutions that you can implement into your business. You will find what industries we are working on, and you will find our products with localizations of e-commerce integrations and some of our success stories. You will also find at the bottom a form in which you can fill with your name, your email, your company name, and any need that you have in your company regarding NetSuite functionalities or any question that you may have. Thank you very much for hearing again, and I will see you in another video.